Os. So over the weekend, I watched all of season 1 of Doctor Stone, and hooray, hooray! Season 2 is confirmed. It's the very first thing that they let you know as the last episode ends. So I'm pretty excited about that. A little too excited that I started actually reading the manga, which is nice. I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see it in animated form. But anyways, we're not really talking about the manga today. I actually just want to talk about the show. If you guys would be so kind enough to indulge me for a little bit and hear me speak on the show, on the matter, on the blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so the show, it was a good time. It was a really good time, and definitely we're going into spoilers because that's no fun if we don't spoil anything. But seriously, if you haven't seen the show, go watch it. It's a good time. But if you haven't seen the show and you want to know a little bit about it, a quick rundown of the show. It is about a science boy who wakes up 3,700 years into the future after being turned into stone alongside the rest of the world. And now it is up to him to revive all of humanity so that we can continue to push humanity forward, essentially. But big old but, there are other people who are also revived that want to prevent this from happening. Why? Because they're fucking morons. That's why. That's actually the one thing about the show that I really don't like. It's the central plot, the driving force between the story that is being told. That there is a kingdom in this new civilization that does not want to push the bounds of humanity forward, but instead kind of remain stagnant. Now, I understand that we as a civilization has had people like this in the past, but the problem here, I'm getting right into it. But the problem here is that these are people that come from our modern age. They are essentially revived 3,700 years into the future, but have all of their memories of their past lives, and they do not want to push science forward. They do not want to go back to living to the way we do with all of our modern conveniences. No. They want to be stone people. They want to be cavemen. They want to be barbarians. And it is so mind blowing that there are people that actually want to live like this. Like, how? Why? Because people are greedy. Because there is a totem pole, and the people who lived at the top are going to make sure that they stay at the top when right now there is an equal playing field. I do not get it. That is the biggest problem with Dr. Stone, and it is essentially the driving force of the narrative. We're going two ideologies head to head, brain versus brawn, science versus not science. and it's baffling. Whenever the show focuses on this narrative, I kind of don't like the show. But don't get me wrong. I really enjoy Dr. Stone, and I can't wait for season 2 to begin. But for now, this little thing that they have between brain versus brawn, science versus not science, is not very good in my opinion. It just feels a little too essentially. But like I said, I do like this show. And any time that the show focuses on little small narratives told between this arcing story, I really like it. It's the best way that I could describe Dr. Stone is just it's kind of feels good. Like it just got it's just how do I say this? Well, for one, it really makes you appreciate all of our modern conveniences and how science actually got us to this point. Whenever Neil deGrasse Tyson goes on the Joe Rogan podcast and he talks about science, hell, it makes me excited about it. And I'm somebody who could barely get by in science class in high school. One of the things that the show actually addresses, that Neil deGrasse Tyson actually addresses himself, is that a lot of our modern conveniences is done in the element of war that is later, at a later time, converted to uh, for uses for the modern man, or for, for the average Joe or the average person. For example, GPS was a tool that was used by the military, and now we use it for Uber, for Google Maps, and others, Pokemon Go. But the point being, Senku actually admits this in the show, and I thought that was really cool. Like I said, the show really makes you appreciate how far we've come, and it really just makes you kind of like, oh wow, I guess that is true. I'm taking for granted the electricity in my house, the ability to record myself as I'm talking right now, or even being able to record sound itself from my microphone, because there's a part in the show where they actually make a record player and listen to voices from the past. It's so good. So anytime that the show focuses on these little things here, it really, I don't know, it's good. It's good. That's the best way that I can describe it. I love it whenever the show does that. Another thing that I really appreciate about the show is, for example, the people who grew up without technology. Because again, we're going into spoilers. Essentially, Senku finds a village that has people who are not, that aren't stone people, that aren't born in the year 2000, whatever year, in the 2010s. um these are people that were born in the year 5000, which is remarkable. Um and essentially they are living just the way our ancestors did, where they're very very reliant on the gods and their protection, and rituals and stuff, and anything that isn't, I guess technically strength is kind of considered sorcery or magic, and it's a little bit I don't know, it's a little concerning to the villagers. And Senku sets out to convert these people into his kingdom of science. And he, little by little, just showing them cool stuff, rounds up the village, eventually taking over it and showing everybody in the village that science is cool and that we can have really cool things through the use of science. That it's not sorcery, it's not black magic or anything. No, no, no. Everything is a process that gets us to these things. And that's and watching their faces as they're mind blown and just, I don't know, sucked into Senku's world. It's so feels good. It just kind of like, oh, that's amazing. That's amazing, seeing these people excited in a way that I think that we as people just kind of take for granted. And for that, I really like it. Though, don't get me wrong, it gets a little bit cheesy at times. Like when, there's a scene where they're fighting. They're having like this little tournament arc, like a little mini tournament arc in Doctor Stone, right? And there's a character who is blind. He needs glasses, and so he ends up getting his hands on some glasses while fighting, and he's able to use the lenses to actually participate in the fight. And it's just so funny. He goes, so this So this is the power of science. It's really cheesy, but I love it. It's pretty good, and all of the characters from the village act like that. My favorite character in the show is Chrome, just because he's the other scientist in the village. He's the other one that is interested in the concept of science, even though he didn't know what exactly it was, but he had like a natural curiosity for stones and minerals and stuff. And him little by little growing through the help of Senku. He drops the name of sorcerer and calls himself a scientist, and he's like, I am a scientist. I am a genius. It's so funny. I really appreciate this show in that respect. The overarching narrative though between Senku and Tsukasa, the kingdom of muscle or whatever they're calling it. I don't know what they're calling it. Um I don't like it so much, but everything else is a gem, and for that I can't wait to continue watching Doctor Stone. I'm actually gonna go read it because I like it. Anyways, so that's kind of my video on Doctor Stone and this whole topic of the show. What I like about it, what I didn't really like about it, what I loved about it, and yeah. Oh, also there's singing in the show. Um, yeah, I don't know. Doctor Stone is pretty cool. I'll talk to you guys next time. Rate, comment, and subscribe. What did you guys think of the show if you guys watched it? Because I try not to spoil it too much, but I definitely feel like I went into spoilers. So, I don't know. Talk to me, guys. I reply to all my comments, and if I think your comment's cool, I'll definitely heart it. Bye, cha.